It was a beautiful afternoon in Glencoe, and I set off to do a high camp round about 750 metres up beyond the Three Sisters of Glencoe, and I headed up a steep path towards my intended pitch, and I scouted about for a wee while to try and find somewhere flat to find for the tent, which actually proved to be a bit problematic, but I eventually found somewhere and set about getting ready. Oh, right. Well, I've not done many bits to camera on the way up. It's been quite a slog coming up there, but I tell you what, if you watched last week's video, I was slogging away in the heat, and it must have been about 20 degrees, and today, 2 days later, the temperature has plummeted. It must be 5 or 6 degrees now. It's lovely and autumnal, and there's even a frost forecast for tonight. So I've been scouting about. I've come up the steep path here. I'm in a wonderful location. You might have seen the cliffs behind me in the mountain. I'm going to try and get up there for sunset tonight, but at the moment I need to think about getting the tent pitched. Very, very hard to find a flat piece of ground round about here, and this is about as good as it's going to get, I think. I'm hoping that my sleep mat is going to even out some of these rocks that are in the ground. A few more things about the pitch. Lovely running water down there. Nice wee Lochan if I want to go for a swim. It's not going to happen. So I can get water for my food. That was my plan for today. I've actually camped on top of this summit before, but today I thought I'd like to sort of be a bit more lightweight because my legs are still tired from that. I must have done over 3,000 metres of ascent the weekend in that heat, and God knows how many miles. So a bit of an easier pull up, nice path as well to follow. So I'm going to get my tent pitched here and then see about heading up this lovely ridge here up to the summit before coming back down here. I might even go back up there for sunrise. I'll wait and see, but yeah, let's get the tent up. Ooh. The pitch was pretty good, and before long I had the tent up, and I was getting the sleeping bag and sleeping pads out ready for the night ahead. I wasn't in any rush. I'd given myself plenty of time, and yeah, that sort of familiar ritual of getting the tent up and ready for the night ahead was done and dusted, and it was soon time to think about tea. And having that wee burn so close to the pitch was fantastic. I made the short distance down to collect some water to make my dinner, which I was really looking forward to this evening. Oh, right, as you can see behind me, hopefully, the tent's up. I've actually been down and collected some water, and I'm going to heat it up. I'm trying something different tonight. I've got a dehydrated meal which was very kindly given to me by Ray from Renegade Scott YouTube channel. Go and check him out, he's got some fantastic stuff. But I noticed he'd been munching on this Cape Wrath trail, and he said it was very good, so I'd been in touch with him, and he very kindly dropped off a packet. So quite looking forward to that tonight, providing I can cook it correctly. I'm not the best cook. But yeah, it's the temperature's actually, it's quite cold. I can see me getting my duvet jacket on in a wee while. The skies are starting to clear. I'm hoping that we get clear skies and maybe some stars, and maybe get some nice pictures of the stars behind the cliffs behind me there. But yeah, this is just lovely. No midges either, which is fantastic. And more importantly, I don't know if you watched the last couple of weeks, I was getting attacked by the deer keds, and I've not seen one of those today. So whether there's been a slight frost, or I don't know, or maybe less prevalent, less prevalent even around Glencoe, I don't know, but I'm not complaining. No beasties so far. Right, let's go and get this food going. Right, I found my spoon. Give it a good stir. I don't know if I've put too much water in there. But give it a good stir and then you seal it. Oh, right, let's see what this is like. Spaghetti bolognese, courtesy of Raymond, I think it's that. Oh, looks quite good. Right, good taster. It's alright, I think I've got the consistency. I didn't actually had a quick look to see how much water you could put in and I missed a bit. So I just kind of threw in just 3/4 of the jet boil flask and it seems to have been alright. It's not too runny. Quite good. Thank you very much, Ray. So the advantage of these are, I think you get more in these than you do for the, I usually bring the Wayfarers one up, which are great. And but they're already hydrated. So you get more in here and they weigh less as well. So I might start using these. All I need now is a glass of wine. Right, so it is about an hour and a half, I've got about an hour and 40 minutes shall we say until sunset. So I'm going to head up to the summit, which is over here behind me. It's about 350 metres ascent vertically, and I'm going to be heading up along this ridge which you can see behind me on the skyline, straight up there. There's a few scrambly bits, but it's a lovely way up to the summit of Stob Coire nan Lochan. So looking forward to going up there. I'm going to sit and enjoy the sunset. I've got my head torches with me just in case something spectacular is going on in the sky and I want to stay a bit longer up there and I'll be heading down in the dark. But yeah, let's get going. Don't want to be late for the sunset. Did I say sunrise or did I say sunset? Well, anyway, it's the sunset I'm going for. Let's go. It was a lovely evening and I headed up the eastern slopes of Stob Coire nan Lochan. And going up this way, it's a bit more adventurous. There's a few easy scrambles and rocky pinnacles to negotiate on the way up. Maybe one just to watch out for in bad weather or in the winter. It can be a proper mountaineering expedition coming down this way. But yeah, it was lovely. I was going up, I was getting my hands on the rock, doing a wee bit of scrambling, and the light was filling Glencoe below me and beyond into Rannoch Moor. It was just a fabulous evening, and there was very little wind as well. It was just made progress a delight, and before long I was approaching the summit of Stob Coire nan Lochan, which sits at over 1100 metres. Oh, this is absolutely stunning. There's no wind. It's lovely. It's quite cool. Very cool. Much cooler, as I said, than a few days ago. That's the cold front's moved down, and I think the winds have to swing round to an easterly later on. Well, there's no wind at the moment, but it's just lovely. I just love this spot. For those of you that have been watching the channel for a while, you know this is yeah, very special place for me. And this is very reminiscent, although it's not quite as warm as it was when I was up here for that trip. Anyway, some lovely light down below. Look at this, I don't know if you can make it out, but that's Annahegic behind me, just being lit by this light which is starting to lower out to the west. There is some cloud about. I'm not sure if there's going to be a fantastic sunset, but my plan is to stay up here for a wee while, watch the sun go down, and then I'm going to make a circuit, or complete the circle. I'm going to go down the other rim of the quarry, because the views out to the west will be a bit better. If I go back down that way, I'll be going towards the night, if that makes sense, because that's to the east. If I go down here, I'll still get some light for a wee bit longer, and the views will be nicer. And if there's anything happening in the sky, I won't miss it. So that's my plan of action. Then I'll get back down to the tent, and I have, what have I got in my hip flask tonight? Ben Riach. Got a Ben Riach, which is something I've never had before. So I shall do my whiskey review later on, but let's just enjoy this at the moment. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy this late light. I'll report back at sunset. Right, that's sunset done. Some lovely colours. I don't know if you'll make them out behind me over Ben Nevis. Lovely pink sky, and I'm doing this bit to camera on my 360 camera because I'm doing a bit of time lapse over on my Sony, just to try and capture this pink before it disappears. Yeah, it's absolutely lovely. It's cold though. My hands are getting a bit nippy. It's just lovely. It's fantastic. What a lovely, lovely sunset. There's not a breath of wind, and there's no midges. As I said, I think there's been a few cold nights, and that's just maybe killed them off a wee bit. But it's just absolutely lovely. I can see the moon rising over to the south. There's a crescent moon. So we'll see if the stars come out later on. But as I said, I'm going to go down this way, down so I get the views down there. And I'll probably leave in about 5 minutes, and we'll see if I need my head torch or not. Time will tell, but hopefully not. Just have to watch it. It's quite rocky going down here. I know this I know this route quite well. It's actually easier coming down here when all the holes in the stones are covered in a thick layer of snow. But, anyway, right, enough talking. Let's get packed up and off the hill and back to the tent. Oh, it's cold. So as mentioned, I completed the circuit of the quarry and headed down the western slopes, which are also rocky, and you get some great views down into the quarry. I could see right down to where my tent was pitched, but the light was starting to fade at this point. I'd put my head torch on just to save me having to get the bag off and finding it in the dark, and before long darkness started to descend over the mountain, and the head torch came on, and it just got darker and darker, especially as I headed back into the quarry, out away from that western horizon, and a wee bit of navigation was required to get over and find my tent. Hi folks, right, I made it back down. It was pretty dark by the time I came off the ridge and back into the quarry, and I had to put my head torch on and do a bit of night navigation to find the tent. But anyway, I got here and I've had a wee bit of whiskey. As I said, it's Ben Riach. I've got a wee bit left for later on. I've had some peanuts, which is great, but the stars are out now. It's really nice. I can see the plough behind the tent, and lots of different stars up in the sky, and it's lovely just looking up. When I turn the lights off, just more and more of them appear. So it's just one of those starry nights, and there's no wind yet, which is good. So I might go and play about with the camera and maybe see if I can get some shots of the tent and the stars and all that sort of stuff. I think I'll do that now, and if any of them come out, I'll stick them up in a wee while. If they don't come out, then you'll not see any pictures. So it's cold as well. I think the temperature or the forecast is below 0 tonight, so it could be a cold one. There's condensation building on the tent, but I don't know whether we'll get any frost or not. We will see. Right, let's go and do some astrophotography and see what happens. I'll wee play with the camera, and then some whiskey when I come back. That can be my treat to myself. Let's go. So I pulled myself out of the nice warm sleeping bag and headed out to look at those stars, and boy was it starry. And I was quite keen to get some shots of the tent reflected on the Lochans, but what I didn't realise, which you've probably just seen about now, see that green glow? Well, when I got home the next day, I realised on social media that there had been a display of the Aurora Borealis, and I hadn't even noticed. The first thing I noticed was that camera pan. I was too busy focusing in this direction towards the cliffs of Stob Coire nan Lochan. Just shows you it pays sometimes to look in all directions when you're taking photographs. Anyway, I scouted about the place and set about taking some astro shots. albeit none of the Northern Lights. Having played about with the camera for a wee while and taken some astrophotography shots, I headed back to the tent, and it was soon time for a wee bit of shut-eye. And I put this time lapse up and it goes on for a wee while, but I just think it's so interesting. You see the Milky Way making its way around the sky, and you also notice how many satellites and actual objects there are up there. I hope you enjoy it. It's about 7:30 now, and I've been out and about and I've got my gloves on because it is absolutely freezing. First frost of the season for me anyway, and my watch was saying it was down to -1 at one point, but it's been hovering about 0 since I got up, which is fine. And yeah, there's not much wind, so although it's cold, it's bearable. There's a bit of a breeze, we've got a bit of shelter. The wind has swung around slightly, but it's looking quite nice. There's a cloud out over on the eastern horizon, so there's not much of a sunset going. Sunset? God, I keep saying that. Sunrise happening. So I've just been loitering in the taking a wee wander about and taking some pictures and what have you. There's some ice over some of the lochans. It's lovely. So the plan of action is, as always, get a coffee on, have some breakfast, and it's just going to be a leisurely striking of camp, I think. Oh, put my head back in here. And then I'll head back down to the car and back home. But yeah, cracking night. I'm interested to see how these starry shots, because the Milky Way last night was lovely. There was, like, I couldn't see the moon, but I know the moon was up. There was a crescent moon to the south, but it was blocked by the bulk of Stob Coire nan Lochan. So yeah, it was a lovely starry night. So right, let's go up and get some coffee, some chocolate for breakfast. It's the only time I can have chocolate for breakfast on a camp, or get away with it anyway. So right, let's do that. So breakfast was indeed some chocolate and some caffeine, and I just lazed around camp. I didn't really do too much for a good hour or two, and just walked around the lochans looking at the ice that covered them. It was lovely. It'd been another fantastic camp, and although I'd been looking the wrong way, I do wish I'd caught some of that aurora. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, another fantastic adventure. So until the next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next adventure.